Welcome to lecture 4. In the previous lecture, in lecture 3, we discussed behavior of a material subjected to an increased load by conducting a tensile test on a specimen. So from that we know the behavior of the material under the tensile load. What we observed? So we observed one thing. The first one is, so plot the graph between the stress and strain. Stress along the x-axis represented by strain along the x-axis represented by epsilon, and this is sigma. Up to a particular value, the stress is proportional to strain. Say this is the point P, limit of proportionality, first salient feature. Then further a force is increased. So force is increased. When force is increased, the deformation is also increased proportionally, but it is rapid. That point is E. When a force is removed at point E, the material regains its original shape and size. So that is the property or that is called as elasticity or elastic deformation. Then its further deformation caused by the applied load up to Y, that is the yielding. Then actually there is a drop in the graph, say that is Y dash for example. The yielding goes up to Y double dash also. Then its further deformation caused by the applied load at a particular point, say as U, the maximum stress induced, or in other words, that is the maximum load. Then at a particular value, the material is failed, that is rupture. So it is observed in the previous class. What we learned by conducting experiment on a specimen in a tensile testing mission. So we observe the salient features. The first one is the P, the second one is the E, the third one is the Y, the fourth one is the Y dash, fifth one is the Y double dash, U and R. Among all these points, let us see, one is the P, second one is the E, third one is Y, and U and R be the main points. That is very, very important one. Coming to the today's lecture, today we will discuss the salient features. So what are the salient features? Plot on the graph, discuss, and what are the stresses at a particular point also. Then go for the various bars under the various cross sections. Third one is the bars of various loadings. So in the previous class we discussed we studied the behavior of a material under the subjected to an increased load by conducting a test in a tensile testing mission and plot the graph as shown in figure. Today we are going to discuss about the salient features and corresponding stresses and strains. Then go for the bars of various cross sections under the loads, and then so bars subjected to a various loads. This is the today's lecture. Then for better understanding, let us see once again the plotting between the strain and the stress as shown in figure. As we know that the first portion up to A is the linear range, that is just what we have to calculate. We have to calculate the stress at A also. That is one more salient feature. Then calculate the stress at B also. Then stress at E also. Then go for the stress at F also. By conducting the experiment on a particular material, we observe the salient features. Then we have to calculate the stresses at corresponding points. Let us come to the graph. What is the first portion? That is the elastic range or elastic deformation. It means whenever a force is removed at particular point B, the material regains its original shape and size as we discussed just now. Then the difference between the A and B is very small or negligible also. The limit of proportionality should be taken as the elastic limit also in all the cases or most of the cases. Then further its strain is caused by the increased load at C. Then that is the yield stress. It means yielding begins and yielding goes up to D. So actually the curve falls down or simply. Then its further strain is caused by the increased load at a particular point E. Neck is forming and so there is a plastic deformation takes place. It means there is even though you remove the force, the material doesn't regain its original shape and size. That property is called as a plasticity or plastic deformation as discussed in the earlier class now itself also. Then its further straining is caused by the load at a particular point F, particularly it is broken or simply failed. For our convenience of better understanding, let us see the one simple numerical example. Before going to solve the numerical example, what we have to do? What is the limit of proportionality? What is the elastic limit? And what is the yield point and ultimate as well as the fracture? If you observe the graph, so I think that the load at A is say as P1. This is very important. This discussion is very useful while solving the problem. Then load at B is also there, that is PB or P2, say as P2. Then there is a load assumed at PC or say as P3. Similarly, there is a load acting on a material say as P3 or P4. Finally, the load is acting on a body of the material at F say as PF or P5. Say these are very important one. What we have to do? So this is the that is equal to PA. If you observe the graph or from the graph, definitely P2 is greater than P1. That is P2 is greater than P1. That is the first point. These are the key points. Again, P3 is also greater than P2, P1. Then P3 is also greater than P3, P2, P1. Then finally, P4 is greater than P1, P2, P3. But the P4 or the P5 is not greater than the P4. These are very important parameters. While solving the problem, you must keep in mind what are the forces at salient features. From the graph, we can conclude P1 is always less than P4, no doubt at all. P2 is always P4 is greater than P2, P3 also, but P5 is not greater than P5. That is very important one. So then you can solve the one problem. Keep it in mind. Let us say a specimen of steel 20 mm diameter. So what is the given? The given is, first one is the diameter. That is the actual diameter of the specimen is represented by dA. It is equal to 20 mm. Then with a gauge length, that is the actual length. It means before going to conduct the experiment on any material in a tensile testing mission, we have to measure the dimensions of the geometry. The first one is the diameter, that is the actual diameter. Second one is the actual length of the specimen, that is equal to 200 mm. That is 200 mm. Then was tested to failure. It undergoes an extension of 0.2 mm. That is, say as delta L is equal 0.2 mm. Keep it in mind. Then a load of 60 kilonewtons. Say this is the load at a point, limit of proportionality, say as PL for example, that is equal to 60 kilonewtons. Then go for the load at elastic limit is taken as PE, elastic limit, that is equal to 120 kilonewtons. Then the braking load is, it means, I think that, let us go to the previous slide, that is the material is failed at point E, that is the load taken, that is 160, say as broken, is equal to 160 kilonewtons. The extension is 50 mm, that is the total. The extension is, say that is delta L total is equal to 50 mm. Then, and the diameter of fracture is 16 mm. Say that is the diameter of the material at a fracture, that is 16 mm. So before going to solve any problem, so better to note down the given data and what we have to calculate it. What we have to calculate. What we have to calculate, just we have to determine the stress at elastic limit. It means if you know the load at elastic limit and cross sectional area, and then Young's modulus, we know that E is equal to stress by strain at a particular point. Then second one is the elongation, third one is the reduction in area, fourth one is the ultimate strength, nominal breaking stress, as well as the true breaking stress. Before going to solve any problem, go through the problem and write down the given data as shown in the left side and apply the or use the appropriate formulas. Then go further. We have to consider, we have to remember one thing. We have the two types of the diameters. Say one is the 20 mm, second one is the 16 mm. One is the 20 mm, second one is the 16 mm. Whenever a body is or a material is subjected to a load, there is a deformation at a particular point, its diameter is decreased. So that's why the diameter of a material under the action of the load, its diameter is reduced, that is 16 mm. That's why that is the diameter at a fracture. Go for the next one. So what is the next one? We have to calculate the stress and strain at a particular points or salient features. We know that what is meant by stress. The stress is represented by sigma, that is equal, stress is equal to load by area. That is very, very important one. What is the load at particular point? Stress at elastic limit. Stress at elastic limit. What is the load? That is equal, load at elastic limit is represented as PE. Here, what is the load at elastic limit? And then, what is the cross-sectional area? We know that area is equal pi by 4 d square. Pi by 4 d square. Area is equal pi by 4 . area is equal pi by 4 d square. What is the diameter here? Here d is equal d actual, that is equal 20 mm in your case, in this case. So therefore stress at a particular point, that is at elastic limit, del sigma E is equal, we know the P, that is, let us go for the previous, that is equal to P is equal 120, and that is equal to 120 divided by 5 by 4 into what about D, that is equal to 20 mm square. The final value is 381 Newton per 381.97 Newton per mm square, or 381.97 megapascals. It is calculated. Then go for the Young's modulus. We know that the second one is this is the first case. Coming to the second case, we know the relation between the stress and strain. Yes, the stress is directly proportional to the strain. Am I right? The limit of the proportionality is replaced by a constant, that is E, that is called as modulus of elasticity or the Young's modulus. So therefore E is equal stress by strain. Stress by strain. So what is the relation? That's very, very important. So we have the two values for force, applied force. One is 120, second one is 60. If you observe that a force is applied gradually 60 degrees up to 60 degrees, right? So whenever, that is the limit of proportionality. Here the 60 is very, very important one. Then go for the, what is the load? That is P, limit of proportionality PL is equal 60. What is the cross sectional area? Up to limit of proportionality there is no change in diameter. It means the area is actual, that is equal again pi by 4 dA square. From that we can calculate, say, where P is equal PL, which is equal to 60 kilonewtons, and area is equal pi by 4 d square. Here this is the area, and then what about the delta L? Delta L is also given, that is equal, that is the elongation under the action of the 60 kilonewtons. Its original length is, that is equal to 200 mm. Finally, the Young's modulus is 190,980 Newton per meter square. So we have to remember one thing. The silent features are very, very important one. If you observe the graph, simply say this is the B is the elastic limit, A is the limit of proportionality. The elongation is up to A is 0.2 mm at a load 60 kilonewtons. At a load 60 kilonewtons. Keep it in mind, that is equal to PL at PL is equal to 60 kilonewtons. As we know that PB is greater than PA or P is greater than PA. That is very, very important one. Based on that, we calculate the, so this is the calculation for the first two cases. One is stress at elastic limit and second one is Young's modulus. Go for the next one is the elongation. So whenever a body is subjected to an increased load, there is a change in dimensions. One is the length, second one is the diameter. What about the final length at fracture? If you observe that actual length is 200 mm, am I right? The total elongation is delta L is T is equal to 50 mm, am I right? Total length at fracture becomes definitely 200 plus 50. So finally that is equal to 250 minus. What about the original length? Original length is, we know that is 200. What about the again original length? 200. So that is equal 200 into 100. Finally, it becomes 50 divided by 200 into 100. Very simple. 25% of elongation takes place. 25% of elongation takes place. Coming to the reduction in area, very simple. Initially, the diameter of the material is given as 20 mm. At fracture, its diameter simply that is equal 16 mm. What we have to calculate? A reduction in area in percentage. Original cross-sectional area minus final cross-sectional area at fracture. We can calculate actual area AA is equal pi by 4 dA square. That is the actual area. What about the area at fracture? Pi by 4 dF whole square. So finally simply represented as pi by 4 actual area E becomes pi by 4 20 A square minus pi by 4 dF is equal 16 whole square whole divided by, what is the next one? Original cross-sectional area is pi by 4 20 whole square into 100. So we will get the percentage of reduction. In the first case, we know that. So here we remember one thing. What about the final length at fracture? Initially, the deformation is with respect to the length is 0.2 meters up to a limit of proportionality only. So whenever it is a fracture, if you measure the length of the specimen, initially the length of the specimen is 200 mm. At a fracture or after completion of the experimentation, if you measure it, it is elongated. Its total length becomes 200 plus 50 because the total elongation is given, which is equal to 50 mm. So finally, total percentage of elongation is 25%, and you can calculate the reduction in area. Coming to the next case. What is the next case? Ultimate strength. So before going to discuss the ultimate strength, better to recall the stress strain diagram.